So word on the street is you guys have been waiting a long time for a video like this. All right, let's do it. That movie is a shit show. What you think you see, what you think you hear, that's what it's about. It's all the theater of the mind. No, it's garbage. It's garbage. Mood and atmosphere. Now that I really like. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see. Hey folks, how you doing? Dave McRae here. That's right, in this video I want to finally talk about Halloween. I sounded like The Rock there. Finally, McRae has come back to Halloween. If you smell what McRae is cooking. Of course, I haven't watched WWE since it was WWF, so that's quite a while ago. Many moons ago, ladies and germs. But yeah, so buckle up, settle in, grab some popcorn, grab some drinks. You might need an alcoholic drink by the end of this video. You guys know me. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, settle in because I have a lot I want to go over because this is the first official video where we're talking about something really official in terms of news and information in regards to Halloween since Halloween 2018. So there's a lot I want to get off my chest in this video, so bear with me. Okay, let's start here. Breaking news! It is finally official. And when I say official, I mean really official. You see, for something to be official, 100% official, that doesn't mean things can't change. But in the moment official, it has to come from the gaping horse's mouth, in my opinion. And today it has. Friday, July the 19th, 2019, Universal and Blumhouse have officially announced that they're not just doing one sequel to Halloween 2018. No. They are in fact doing two sequels to Halloween 2018. The first of which will be released on October the 16th, 2020. And that movie is called Halloween Kills. Ooh. The second movie, the second sequel, third in this new kind of trilogy, I guess, or fourth movie in the series overall, depending on how you... Anyways, the next movie after that will be released the following October, on October the 15th, 2021, and that movie is called Halloween Ends. Famous last words. But anyway, okay, so what do I think about all this? Well, let me preface my thoughts by saying, for those of you that may not know, because there might be some new viewers, in regards to Halloween 2018, I can watch that movie on its own merits and enjoy it. Right? I mean, it's a very well-made, modern-day slasher movie. It's always cool to see Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers. The Mask is great. Christopher Nelson knocked it out of the fucking park. James Dew Courtney, best Michael Myers since Nick Castle, hands down. John Carpenter knocked it out of the park with the score. But at the end of the day, I think it largely fails as a Halloween movie, especially when you're telling me it's a direct sequel to John Carpenter's original, because there is a certain identity about that movie. There's certain formulas and certain pieces to that movie that make that movie what it is in terms of how it's lit, how it's shot, in terms of the utilization of the shape, light and shadow, a number of things that I could go into here, but it would take too long. And that kind of thing needed to be carried over into this new movie, not in pockets or moments, but as a running formula through the fabric of the narrative. And it largely wasn't. There were a lot of issues that I had with the 2018 film. And that's not a knock against the cast or the crew that made it. Listen, making movies is fucking hard. My hat goes off to them. It's fucking hard. It's a collaborative effort and everything has to be firing on all cylinders. But at the end of the day, I just did not agree with the creative choices that were made. Didn't like the humor, didn't like how they handled Dr. Sartain's character. Really liked Dr. Sartain, a lot of potential there, but didn't like how they handled his character at all. Peanut butter on my penis, and all that goes into the humor category. I was just, a lot of creative decisions I just did not agree with. But again, like I said, what they did well, they did really well, which makes what they didn't do well that much more frustrating. So, look, if you want to know my in-depth analysis on the movie, just YouTube Dave McRae Halloween Epic Review or something to that effect, and it will come up. But I warn you, it's about an hour long, because I go in depth, so just settle in. So one last thing I want to say about the 2018 film before we jump into the news that dropped today is that I think Laurie Strode should have died in the fire with Michael Myers. I understand why they did not do that, but if it were up to me, I probably would have pulled the trigger because Laurie sacrificing herself to save her family by killing the Shape and herself gives so much more weight and bottom to that movie, the kind of weight that movie desperately needed. And again, I understand why they didn't do that. But if it were up to me, I think I would have pulled that trigger because I can just see it, Mom, no, come on, go, get out of here. Like it just would have been oh my, no, they're not going, no, they would, oh my God, they are, they're totally going to go there. It just would have been, I probably would have got choked up. And that's the kind of, the both of them would have gone out in a literal blaze of glory. And that's the kind of exit you want two iconic characters to have, right? You don't want Laurie to die by getting stabbed in the eye or just falling off a cliff or something. I mean, you want her to go down, taking down the evil. You know what I mean? I think it would have been amazing. But anyway, so it's a movie I don't think needed a sequel, even as it is right now. I really couldn't care less if they made one. But I'm a Halloween fan. I'm a Halloween guy. I'm always going to be excited about any news about Halloween, even if I think it's completely unnecessary, which I kind of do think this is. But let's jump into this announcement now, because here's what I have to say about this. Let's first talk about the two titles of these movies. We have Halloween Kills, and we have Halloween Ends. I like it. I like them. I like both of them. They're bold. And you know what I love about them the most? Number one, there's not a lot of verbal clutter there. I mean, it's just Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? But I love the fact that they're not utilizing cliche subtitles like resurrection or redemption or, resurgence or returns or there's so many R's ones too that are just awful. I love that it's just Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. Now, whether it actually ends or not, who the hell knows? But I love the fact that it's bold and it's different, and like I said, there's not a lot of verbal clutter. So I like that. It makes a statement. Both titles make statements. And I like that. I got to admit, I like it. I like the boldness of the titles and the fact that they're not, just recycled titles that we've heard and seen thousands of times that really don't mean anything at the end of the day. So I like that. The second thing that I want to talk about is, of course, what is this going to be about? We still don't have a log line. We don't have a synopsis. We don't have any information. As of shooting this video, we don't have any information to what this is going to be about. So let the speculation begin. Is it going to pick up exactly where the last one left off? Is it going to fast forward a year later? Blah, blah, blah. We do know that David Gordon Green is going to be directing these two movies. We do know that it is presumed that Jamie Lee Curtis and James Jude Courtney and Andy Matichak and Judy Greer, the usual suspects from the previous film, obviously are going to return. John Carpenter will more than likely return with his son and Daniel Davies to do the score, I would imagine. So that's positive, but what the story is going to be, I have no idea. But what I do like, what gives me hope in some ways, but it's also a catch-22 because it can go the other way as well, is that there were a lot of expectations for Halloween 2018. And now that the 2018 film is out there, the shackles may be off David Gordon Green and the writers, because now because they're no longer making a sequel to the 1978 original. They're making a sequel to the 2018 film. So that's their continuity. That's their style. That's their visual aesthetic. Whether I agree with it or not, whether I think that was the right direction to go in or not, becomes irrelevant at the end of the day, because that's the movie they're making a sequel to. So the creative freedom they'll have, I mean, look, they still have to abide by certain rules and certain things about the shape and Halloween, but there might be a little more creative freedom there to make it even more their own, to the point where, ironically, I may actually end up liking the movie better than I did the 2018 film. That's entirely possible, because sometimes that happens because you're not, shackled to the pressure of the classic that came before it. You're now making a sequel to your own movie. And I don't know if I don't know if he's done sequels. He doesn't have a gigantic filmography. Has he done sequels? I don't think he's done multiple films in a series. And he's a talented filmmaker. I mean, anybody who's seen Joe with Nicolas Cage, that's a great movie. And he's got some other films as well that are solid films. I don't think he's amazing, but he's certainly competent and capable of delivering something of relative quality. And seeing him do 2 sequels to his own movie, where he has time to let the characters that he created, apart from Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, the other characters that he's helped to create, breathe and flesh those characters out and give them, more of an arc. There's potential here that we actually could, for people like me who were, about that movie, we actually might end up ironically enjoying this movie a little bit more. That's entirely possible, because sometimes that happens. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm a little trepidatious, but I'm looking forward to seeing what David Gordon Green and company can do now that there might be a little more creative freedom to put more of his own on it. So I think it's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to that. In terms of Halloween Ends and the title Halloween Ends, is it actually going to end? There's obviously, it's famous last words, right? I mean, there's so many movies that have the final chapter, or the last one, or whatever the fuck whatever subtitle they use to say, hey, this is it, is generally used, especially today, as a marketing ploy. I mean, it's get it while supplies last, right? I mean, that's essentially what it is. And they want to put you in the seat to, because they want your money. I mean, that's what this is about. It's a business. So if they put final chapter or ends or, the last one or whatever the hell it is, that's going to get butts in the seat. So whether it ends up being the last one or not, really at the end of the day is irrelevant. But I've been saying this ad nauseum on this channel. The character of Michael Myers is not like Freddy and Jason. The original intent of the character. I'm not saying Michael from 5 or 6 or H2O or Resurrection. I'm talking about Michael Myers from that first movie, right? He was a human being in that movie that had a slight supernatural edge. There was something there, but he was still flesh and blood. He didn't become a literal supernatural, whatever the fuck he was, by the later garbage sequel. And that's the character that they went back to. That character, in my opinion, has a shelf life and works best in small doses. And I've often said that, you're not going to get 5 or 6 good sequels from this new movie because you're going to find yourself right back where you started. The novelty's going to wear off. You're going to start introducing weird and stupid shit to just justify keeping the narrative going. When in reality, that character, the Shape from 1978, has a shelf life. And I've often said that you might be able to get 1 sequel, maybe 2 out of it, but I think you cap it and, you go out on top on a high note, hopefully, because you don't want to find yourself right back where you started before the 2018 film, which was in a position of just dog shit show sequels, and that's where they were, right? So, go out on top. Now, is it going to be the last one? I think it's possible that it may be the last one as we know it in regards to this timeline. That doesn't mean they won't remake it or reboot it, 10 years down the road, but I think it's possible. I do. I have a feeling it's possible. Now, for some of you that may not know, most of you probably do though, I am somebody that really doesn't give a frog's fat ass about the brother-sister story angle. I mean, it has its qualities, and certainly the fact that Michael and Laurie are brother and sister, has embedded itself into the pop culture consciousness, which is why it pissed a lot of people off when they were going to say, no, that never happened. But that was the original intent, right? The Halloween film, the very first movie, was a one-off, and Laurie was not his sister in that movie. They were not related. It was not personal. It was random. Now, that doesn't mean there wasn't some little psychological infatuation that he had with this young blonde girl that maybe he thought was attractive or something. I have no idea. But they had no prior history there. So I much prefer that force of nature in terms of Michael, and the fact that it's now, over these next two films, it's going to be about Laurie and Michael again. It's kind of like, maybe he continues to kill at random, but Laurie is just hot on his heels. But eventually you're going to, he's going to be like, what the fuck? This bitch is still here. What's going on? Right. And they're going to come together again. It's still about them at the end of the day. So I would prefer that they probably did not do that. But if you're going to make it about Laurie and Michael, if you are going to do that, then when you get to Halloween Ends, you end it with them. You don't end Laurie, but keep Michael going. Like, you don't have the Halloween Ends as sort of like a figure of speech or semantics. Like it actually means the death of Laurie or the death of Halloween as we know it, because it's the death of Laurie and Michael, but Michael actually died. No. You end it with Laurie and Michael. You began it with Laurie and Michael, end it with Laurie and Michael, because even though I would much prefer to see stories outside of that, the problem is that if you're going to start doing those non-Laurie Strode stories with Michael Myers, cool, but then now you're doing it by the fifth movie in the actual timeline. It's like, we all know what happens when you get to part 5 in a horror series. You should have started to do this earlier so we could have maybe a good one, because I don't have confidence that if they were to suddenly abandon Laurie by killing her in Halloween Ends, but continuing Michael, that somehow we would get great movies. You may disagree, but I think the probability is very low because you're already into your 5th film. So, just end it with Laurie and Michael, and they go out together. That's the way it should be. They die together. Have them go out together. How, when, where, how that's going to be constructed. I know that the people that think he can live on and all, okay, fine. I know you're not going to be happy about that, but that's what I would do. They need to go out together. It begins and ends with Michael and Laurie Strode. And I think you have an opportunity here to do that. And make it powerful and dynamic and organic, and have it make sense in terms of the arc right from that first movie when that teacher was talking about fate in the classroom, and Laurie looks out the classroom and sees Michael Myers standing on the other side of the station wagon. Now, obviously, that was all about meeting her fate within that one movie because it was supposed to be a one-off film. But you can totally take that and have it make sense still by capping it off with him and her, or it and her, I should say. That was another one of my pet peeves from that first movie. He's been waiting for me, I've been waiting for him. No, it should have been, it's been waiting for me, I've been waiting for it. Anyway, so definitely I think if it is going to end this version of Halloween as we know it, in terms of this story with Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie, and Michael, you take them both down, 100%. That doesn't mean her daughter and her granddaughter have to go out, but Laurie's got to go down. Absolutely. That's what I would do. So I'm interested to see, as the weeks and months go on, sort of what synopsis or log line we get, what what tidbits of information, tidbits of information we get in regards to what the narratives are going to be. So those are my preliminary, anyway, initial thoughts on this information. I'm a Halloween fan. It's my favorite horror, franchise, even though I don't like many of the sequels. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the original, and I'm a big fan of Halloween 2. I think it's a far inferior film to the original, but Michael Myers is my favorite horror character, so I'm always up for talking about Halloween and following the stories about the new movies as they develop, and because, it's always exciting to see what they're going to do, and maybe they'll do something that's really cool and something that we Halloween purists tend to enjoy. Go, well, you know what? Okay, I can get on board with that. All right. Because there was some good in the 2018 film. Like, there was some good. And then there was the other. And you're like, oh, you were so close. Like, what happened? Anyway, my name's Dave McRae. Comment below and let me know your thoughts. What do you think about this news? Are you excited about it? Are you not excited about it? Do you like the titles Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends? Or do you not like the titles Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends? Comment below and let me know. I want to know it all. If you want to follow me on Facebook, you can at facebook.com/manythingsdavemcrae. That's where I tend to post in the meantime and in between time when I'm not posting here. All the links are in the description, as well as a link to my Instagram. I am now officially on Instagram. I just started, so not a lot on there. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, click the link in the description. Somewhere down there is my link to my Instagram. And I noticed that the kids are saying today, hey, do you got Insta? You got Insta? I got Insta. I'm like, Jesus, you're abbreviating a word that's already abbreviated. What the fuck is going on? Anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon.